Hi everyone, I am Sreekanth. We are discussing about programming in C language. The topic is program fundamentals. The agenda of this session is about low level language versus high level language. Here we try to discuss in detail about what are the major differences between low level language and high level language with the suitable examples. Okay, see what is low level language. Low level language is what? Machine friendly, machine understandable language. Here we are giving completely instructions in the form of what? Zeros and ones representation. That's what basic level is called machine friendly. But coming to high level language is what? High level languages are comes for what? Third generation languages. Here low level languages comes under what? First and second generations. These high level languages are what? User or programmer friendly. See the translation here, language translate language translator not required in machine level language because their instructions are given directly what? Machine understandable language. But coming to the second generation language like assembly language, their language translator is called assembler. Assembler is required in the second generation language that also comes under low level language. Assembler is responsible to convert what? High level language into what? Means assembly level language into what? Machine understandable language or machine language. Here these low level language is considered both machine language. First generation language is called machine language completely, and second generation language is called assembly language. It is comparatively machine level language. Assembly language consists what? Some English words like mnemonics are added. Okay, here language translator is called assembler. Assembler is required while machine language is directly executed. Okay, coming to the high level language, here the translators, language translators like compiler or an interpreter is required. Okay, and the speed of execution is what? Slow, because here more human effort is required, because the human is responsible to converting what? These high level instructions into what? Machine understandable instructions in the first generation language, completely converting high level instruction into machine understandable instruction and giving data input as a machine instructions to the machine. Then machine is going to be returns output as what? Machine understandable instruction only in the form of what? Binary format, zeros and ones. Again human cannot understand directly that output. Again that conversion is required for binary language into what? High level language. That's what the speed of execution is what? Somewhat slow. Here coming to the high level language, speed of execution is fast because here so many language translators are there, and we are giving instructions what? User understandable instructions are high level instructions in the form of what? English, based on some coding standards. Portability and machine dependency. Here non-portable and machine dependent. Why? Because these first generation generation languages are completely low level language, that is system dependent, machine dependent and architectural dependent. You cannot carry that machine code or assembly code, you cannot run in what? Multi-platform, because every machine consists its own architecture, its own hardware dependent. That's what these level languages are called non-portable. You cannot carry and run in multi platforms, and it is what? Machine dependent. That code is dependent to the particular machine and particular architecture. But coming to third generation language onwards, these portability and machine dependence, what? Portable means we can carry the code and we can run in the different platform environments. Some languages supports source code we can carry and we can run in the different platforms. Some languages supports object to code. Once compilation is done, object to code is generated, right? That object to code, instead of carrying source code, directly can carry that object to code, we can run in the different platforms. Some languages is going to be supports what? Directly executable code we can run in the different platforms and runnable in any platforms. This is about portability and machine dependency. And debugging and maintenance. See, In the low level languages like first and second generation languages are what very quite complex, debugging and maintenance. But coming to high level languages, debugging and maintenance are very simple. Okay, and it is not commonly used nowadays in programming environment. These first and second generation languages are not commonly used in nowadays, but these third generation language onwards, like third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation, like these high level languages are used widely for what programming. These best examples like machine language and assembly languages are best example of what low level languages. But high level languages best examples like C language, C++, Java, Perl, Pascal, COBOL, Ruby, Python, .NET, like PHP. Several high level languages are there commonly used in the real world environment. Here you need to remember these third generation languages, especially about C language, is called middle level language, also called what high level language. See, this is the common and basic differences between what low level language and high level language. Remember it, these low level language comes under what machine language and assembly languages. High level languages comes under what for third generation languages onwards, high level languages. Okay, and in detailed, yeah, in detailed differences between this low level language and high level language, observe here. See, it is machine friendly language because machine understands what zeros and ones representation. But coming to high level language, it is user friendly language as these languages is written in a simple English verse which can be easily understood by what humans. See, generally we are instructing the code in the form of what high level language based on standards, right? We discussed ASCII standards, ASCII 7 and ASCII 8, and Unicode standards UTF-7, UTF-8, UTF-16, UTF-32, like that. Okay, based on these coding standards we are giving instructions. Those coding standards are generally supports what, and it allows what plain text in the high level user understandable language only. Okay, but machine level language completely understood by what binary language represented by zeros and ones. The second point, it requires the assembler to convert assembly code into what? Machine code. For here, two things are there. In first generation language, completely binary language must be give instructions in the form of zeros and ones. That to be what? Opcode, right? Like opcode and operand. See that operation code and address and locations completely in the form of what? The zeros and ones representation hexadecimal format. But in the second generation language, they are going to be improved, right? One language like assembly language. There we are giving instructions in the form of what? Assembly level language called assembly code, like mnemonics. It consists of instructions in the form of what? Like add, subtract, multiplication, load, such kind of instructions. Mnemonics are there. Here language translators are required called assembler. Assembler is responsible to convert this high level, this assembly level language into what? Machine level language. Okay. Coming to high level language, it requires a compiler. Compiler and interpreters are there, right? To convert what? High level language instructions into machine code. The machine code cannot run all machines, so it is not a portable language. I said, right? These low level languages are what? Non-portable, and it is machine dependent languages. But coming to high level languages, what? It can run all the multi platforms, right? It can run that code into the different platforms. That's what these languages are called, portable in nature, and it is what? Not machine dependent. Okay, machine independent. Debugging and maintenance are not easier in what? Lower level, low level languages, but debugging and maintenance are what? Easier in what? High level languages. See, it is machine friendly language completely in the form of what? Zeros and ones, somewhat in the somewhat in the next level called assembly language, that to be what? Mnemonics. But in high level language it is what? Programmer friendly language. Okay, user understandable language, user friendly language. Low level language is what? High memory efficient, but high level languages is what? Less memory efficient. It is tough to understand because you cannot understand as much easy by what? Machine is completely understood by what? Zeros and ones, but user cannot understand that much easily because it is completely what? Machine level instructions. It is very tough to understand by the programmer or end user. But here in the high level languages it is easy to understand because generally what we communicate, such kind of language instructions we are going to be using in the high level language, like a plain text. A simple example, Coming to low level language, it is complex to what? Debug and comparatively. Here bug is nothing but what? Error. Debug is nothing but what? Removing error, rectifying error, or like solving an error. That is called debug. This is what? Comparatively complex for high level language. So in high level language, it is simple to debug. Several debugging tools are also there, easy to debug. It is complex to maintain. In a high low level language is what? Very complex to maintain, but high level languages are, it is simple to maintain. So it is non portable. Low level languages are non portable, but high level languages are, it is portable in nature. It is machine dependent. Low level languages are machine dependent, I said, right? Because these languages are completely given low level instructions, machine level instructions, that completely depend upon what? Architectural dependent, machine dependent. But high level languages are given instructions at what? High level, top level. Okay, it is not depend upon any system related, architectural related. For that, yeah, high level languages are what? Machine independent. Low level languages, it needs what? Assembler. For what? Translation. Okay, language translator is assembler. Okay, but machine level language not required. For assembly level language, assembler translator is required. But high level languages, it needs what? Compilers or interpreters for translation based on the particular programming language. In the low level language, they allows little or no abstraction. Sometimes in machine level language, zero level abstraction, but assembly level language, some low level abstraction is there. But coming to high level language, they allows what? More abstraction. Okay, and coming to low level language, for writing programs, hardware knowledge is a must. But coming to high level language, for writing programs, hardware knowledge is not required. Modifying program is very difficult in low level language. The programs are easy to modify in what? High level language. The statement can be directly mapped to what? Processor instructions in low level language. A single statement may execute what? Several instructions in what? High level language. See, these are all what? Various differences about what? Low level language and high level language. Remember, generally we call low level languages are called first generation language and second generation language. Like machine language, zeros and ones representation, like generally represents opcode and operands, like operation code and address and locations. Like assembly level language, like symbolical representation, that comes under low level language. For third generation language onwards, we can call it is high level languages. Okay, so these are all the major differences I clearly explained between low level language and high level language. Okay, so very important for what? Exam and interview point of view. Okay, so that's it for the today's session. We discussed in detail about what? Low level language and high level language. Like first generation, second generation languages comes under what? Low level language. This third generation language onwards comes under what? High level language. In first generation language, machine level language, completely understood by zeros and ones format, like binary format. The second generation language called assembly level language, there we are giving instructions in the form of mnemonics. Instead of giving completely low level, they are giving instructions in the form of what? Mnemonics. Like a set of instructions are given in the form of what? English words. Okay, like add, subtraction, like that. Their assembler is required. Language translator is there. Assembler is required to translate that assembly level language into what? Machine understandable language. But coming to third generation language onwards, we are using what? Compilers and interpreters based on the particular programming language. Some languages are compiler based languages are there. Some languages are only interpreter based languages are there. These two become what? Language translators converts this high level language into what? Machine understandable language. Simply you can remember, low level languages are not user friendly, very difficult to understand that machine level language and assembly level languages. But coming to the high level languages onwards, these languages are what? User friendly, because instructions are given in the form of high level language, general English. Okay, see, that's it for today's session. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you all.